Well, thank you for joining us today. My name is Victoria Rogers. I am a manager here at Ignite Social Media in the paid social department, and I am joined here by Toya Duncan, who is a senior media buyer. Now, today we'll walk you through how to create targets for your social media plan. So starting off with we just have a fictitious client. We're going to focus on how to create our targets for Birmingham Pet Shop. So they are a national supply store for, pets, and they are opening 3 locations within the United States: Denver, Atlanta, and Phoenix. Now they are thinking about using paid social to really generate awareness of these locations, focusing on Meta, TikTok, and Snapchat. They really want to generate awareness of these locations among their target audience, which are pet-owning millennials. Now, to efficiently reach this audience, they'll be building out targets for their ad platforms using what they know about their audience. So we know that they're female, 27 to 42, household income of less than 100,000, and they have preferences when it comes to certain brands like Chewy, Amazon, Vans, Adidas, and Netflix. So we'll use this information when building out our audiences. Now I'll kick it off to Toya to chat through the Meta targeting options, and then we'll also go into a recording of her showing the different options within the native
Thanks so
platform.
much, Victoria. So, like we mentioned, we are diving first into Meta. So, looking at what options are available for targeting. So, within Meta, we're able to target based on location, and it's an array of different options there. So, it can be based on country, state, DMA, city, postal codes. So, a great variety of different options within the location and geography, ages, gender, languages, demographic, which can include financial information, education levels, life events, whether you're a parent or not, your relationship status, and also work-related employment information as well. Interest-based targeting, so things that you like within the platform will be pulled into those interests along with behaviors. And then also custom audiences. So custom audiences is a little extra level up. These aren't going to be readily available within the platform. These you would actually build out. So if you were trying to target a web audience based on a website for a brand and those who have visited the website in the past, you could create a custom audience for that and even lookalike audiences. But you could also upload customer lists related to addresses and email. Also catalog and any engagement. If people have engaged on your Facebook or your Instagram page, we're able to target them that way as well. So again, a little more advanced, so I don't think we'll get too deep on it in this particular discussion, but the capability is there. Okay, so we are going to dive right into the Meta platform to see our targeting capabilities.
Okay, so diving right in, looking at Meta, I've already set up the campaign and created it, naming it the Birmingham Pet Shop. And I'm at the ad level at this point. So this is where we're going to build out our targeting. So right up top, you'll see that we're at the ad set level. And I created a name, so Birmingham Pet Shop Targeting. We created an awareness campaign. Like we mentioned, we're looking to garner awareness for the new location. And scrolling down, you'll see our flighting. Just put in some flight date, start and end date. But where we really want to concentrate our attention is audience. So under audience, we'll be able to build out those custom audiences, our more detailed targeting related to location, age, gender, demographics, etc. So right here, we'll build in our location. So looking at Denver, and you'll see once you type in, you'll receive a drop down with different locations. So we're going to focus on Denver, Colorado, the city. And generally, you can target around a radius of a particular location, but we're going to focus on the city only. But as you can see, we can target around Denver, Colorado, 10 miles to 50 miles around the radius of the location. But we're going to focus on the city only today. And doing the same for Atlanta, focusing on the city only. And then again, focusing on city only. So you'll see under locations, we have all of our locations for our new locations built out for the pet shop. So Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado, and Phoenix, Arizona, targeting just those cities. And from there, we can scroll down and look at age. So we are targeting women ages 27 to 42. I already popped that in, but you'll see here for Meta, we can start targeting as young as 13. There is some restrictions targeting those under 18, but for our campaign, we're focusing on ages 27 to 42. And then looking at ages here, we can go out to 65 plus. So again, we're going to stick to that 27 to 42 millennial that we built out in the profile in our strategy. So again, women, so just selecting women. And then for our detail targeting, we're able to hone in on more specific interests. So let's take a look. You can kind of start with just typing in keywords and you'll be able to see suggestions here in the drop down, and you'll get some ideas of audience sizes as well. So really you can just start building out your targets here related to interests, competitors like pet stores, anything around the topic. So really just kind of browsing, putting in things that make sense and seeing what's available within the platform. So I'm going to start with pet food and go from there. We'll just hit suggestions, dog food, dog toy. So these all fall under the pet supplies, which is great because we're looking at, a pet store, what they might have. Pet store, cat food. So really just being able to peruse the options, and every platform will have different options. Meta is really great because they generally have pretty robust targeting related to detail targeting and interest-based targeting. But also, you want to type in Petco. So we'll see here, we can target employers. So if we were looking to target those working at Petco, but really we're looking for anyone that might be following the brand, that might show interest in our pet store. So we're gonna look at PetSmart and just see what pops up. It's there. So, dog park. And in this area, a lot of times I'll just kind of Google things as well. If it's a topic that I'm less knowledgeable about, I'll build out a profile just kind of like typing in things in Google and seeing what comes up. If it's something related to competitors, I'll type in, pet stores and see what comes up in the platform. And it might be something I'm not thinking about that isn't generating within the platform. So I might just Google from there and then take my results back into the platform to see if they're available. So those are some examples there. Thinking about behaviors. So down here under where we were typing in our keywords and selecting suggestions, we can browse what's available in the platform. So demographics related to education. We did want to talk about income. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so in our strategy, we were looking to target women ages 27 to 42 who have a household income of greater than 100,000. So a while ago, Meta made updates that we're not able to hone in on specific household income, but we can look at a zip code. So we can look at the zip codes within the cities that we selected of Denver, Atlanta, and Phoenix, and target those households that have a household income in the top 10% of those zip codes, the top 10 to 25%, top 25 to 50%, or the top 5%. So since we're looking to target those with a household income of 100,000 or greater, I would probably select all of these for this particular campaign. But really, this is going to kind of be a layer. So actually, I'll do this. So we have some of our interest-based targeting here. I'm going to add a layer of targeting specific to household income. And we'll see that here once I start typing it in. So I'll just layer all of those in that we found. Now, this will be an added layer of targeting. So if you want your campaign to be a bit broader, maybe not layer in household income. Maybe the income doesn't matter for the particular campaign. So, in this case, we've layered it into our strategy. So we will add it to the targeting, but you'll see it falls under demographics of financial income. And again, we're not able to target specifically households making $100,000 or more, but instead Meta allows us to target household income based on the top zip codes of the locations that you're targeting. And language, I think everything is set to English, but you can target. This one here is set to all languages, which I would leave, but if you want to target a specific language, you can always type it in here. And yeah, I think for this one, we're pretty good. We talked about in the strategy, these this particular audience is interested in brands like Chewy and Netflix and Amazon and Vans. So again, you can build that out right here in that interest bracket for demographic. So these are employers, but right here we have interest. So interested in Amazon.com. So we could add that in. And a lot of times you might want to have one big target audience, but in other cases you might want to segment your audience. So you'll see here I created a second ad set. So this one might be more interest-based targeting, where this one might be a little more competitor targeting, where maybe I put in those other pet stores like Petco and PetSmart. So you might set up a campaign where it's one big target, or you might have multiple targets where you're targeting interest in one ad set, behaviors in a second ad set, income in a third ad set. So it really depends on, how granular you want to make the targeting, and also how much your budget is. That will determine how many targets you're able to have running at the same time. So if it's a smaller budget, maybe layer in as many as you can into one ad set. And if you have a larger budget, you can get a little more specific and kind of build them out separately. And that way you're able to optimize for what's going to be top performing.
Okay, perfect. So we walked through Meta. And from there, we're going to mosey on over to TikTok. So very similar to Meta, you'll see the same targeting capabilities across the board. The additions here would be spending power, which is a newer feature we'll talk about as we get into the platform. And then you'll see household income separated out. So we were able to target household income on Meta, but you had to kind of dig for it within those demographics and interests like keyword search bar. On TikTok is separated out independently. So we will dive right into TikTok. So now focusing on TikTok. So diving into the platform, much like Meta, you'll see that I've already created the campaign. So we're right where we need to be to focus on targeting, which is the ad group level. So you'll see I've already took the time to label the ad group name as our Birmingham Pet Shop with our awareness objective. Moving down, we'll see targeting. So right here in location is where we will put in the target locations we were looking for. So Denver. Okay, so this is a bit different than Meta. So on Meta, we were able to target by city, along with DMAs as well. But for TikTok, at least for Denver so far, we're not able to target the city of Denver. We're only given the option of DMA. So depending on your strategy, depending on, what the client is going to feel is going to be most comfortable with, if they're going to be comfortable with targeting the DMA, which is pretty much the more metropolitan area of Denver, Colorado, you might have to take that back to the client or relook at your strategy. But in our case, I'm going to go ahead and select it. So we have Denver for the DMA. Let's see what we get for Atlanta. In Atlanta, we are able to target the city. So I'm going to go ahead and select Atlanta. And then finally, Phoenix, we are able to target the city of Phoenix as well. So I will go ahead and select that. So again, which is why we're doing this. It's always important to actually get into the platforms because they're going to vary. all the platforms have really expanded over the last couple of years. TikTok has gained more detailed targeting, but you will see differences like this in terms of being able to target zip codes on some platforms and others you may not be able to. In this case, for the city, we weren't able to target Denver as a city, but we are able to target Denver as a DMA. So always something to, take note of and be mindful of when we're planning these strategies and turning up those campaigns on. So we have our locations now. We're looking at women, so I will select female. And again, slight difference in age grouping here. Meta, we were able to target by individual ages. On TikTok, they are grouped together. So we aren't able to target specifically 27 to 42, but I'm going to go ahead and select 25 to 44. Really just based on what's available. And again, that might be something to take back to the team to just make sure that that will work overall for the campaign. But for this case, we will go ahead and select that. For our age grouping, languages, I'm going to go ahead, much like Meta, and select all. So it will translate the message based on, what language is selected for the platform on the independent devices. But you can see here, you can select from a plethora of different languages. And now this is a bit different from Meta, and this is a newer feature for TikTok, so spending power. So this is new, and it just gives us the ability to target those who have a higher spending power. How that is determined, I'm not quite sure, but the wording here is high spending users typically spend more on purchases than the average user. So based on, we're looking to target people who have a household income of 100K plus, I'm going to go ahead and select that. But you'll also notice that we still have the household income as an option here as well. So again, much like Meta, we're not able to target 100K specifically, but we can still reach those top percentage of zip codes within that Denver DMA, Atlanta, and Phoenix in terms of the city. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these like we did for Meta. And then we have that added incentive of being able to reach those who have a little higher spending power on TikTok. And for these are more along the lines of the custom audiences, which are a little more, it takes a little more to build those out. So for example, you would need to have a pixel installed to be able to build custom audiences and lookalike audiences. And what those are audiences that would be able to retarget. So for example, if the Birmingham Pet Store had a website, we would be able to put in that URL and potentially set up an audience of people who have visited the website in the past to be able to retarget them to come back. To hopefully bring them back into the store or to gain awareness of these new locations. So I won't get too heavy into custom audiences, but they are a really nice thing to be able to utilize. And pretty much every platform gives you the ability to build out custom audiences and lookalike audiences. And lookalike audiences are just audiences that will build an audience based on things that people have engaged with in the past. So if they've engaged with potentially other pet stores or pet lover content, we would be able to create an audience of people who look like they would, be interested in our ads and our messaging. So a little more advanced, so I'll leave that for possibly a later video, but that ability is in the platform here and on Meta, which I don't think I touched on too much in the previous platform. So we'll see interests and behaviors. So here is where we can build out those interests. Much like Meta, just typing in keywords and just seeing what suggestions are here and what offerings are here. So I'm going to go ahead and select pets, pet healthcare, pet grooming, pet toys. Let's make sure everything's adding in. Yeah, let's try that one again. And sometimes the platforms can be a little temperamental, so bring your patience, pack your patience. Okay, let's try again. Okay, we already got that one. Okay, so we did pick them up. Let's just find them. Pet toys. Um, let's see if we can type in some of those pet stores like Petco. Okay, so they do have that here as well. So I'm going to add it as an additional interest. And I will also add the hashtag. So the hashtag will fall under the behaviors targeting, but we'll just plug it into this as a full target. And that pretty much is anyone who's interacted with the hashtag Petco before or any other hashtags. Let's see. See if we can find PetSmart. Okay, not there. Pet Lover. Okay. So very similar to Meta, you're just going to type in keywords, and once you type in a word, it will give you suggestions. Also, some of the interest here for our main demographic was Chewy and Netflix. So let's see if they have anything related to kind of our strategy and who this shopper is. So we do have, now that this can be tricky as well. So sometimes you'll see wording, but it might not align with what you're specifically looking for. But since Chewy is a delivery service, I'm going to go ahead and select the hashtag Chewy delivery because that feels most relevant to this particular campaign as opposed to just Chewy. And then this profile was interested in Netflix. See if that's available. And it is, and there's a ton of options for interest and then also hashtag interactions. So we could layer a few of these in as well. Let's do Netflix and chill. Okay, so here you'll kind of see how it's added those interests and those behaviors for people who have interacted with specific hashtags right into the platform to target. So again, you could build out separate targets here, maybe one for interest and a separate one for behaviors. In this example, I've just layered them together. And then I'm just going to scroll down. And I think that just about covers it for TikTok. We talked about languages, we talked about custom audiences, which is a little more advanced, but definitely possible to create. Behaviors here is really around those interactions, so those interactive hashtags or videos that people might have interacted with. On this particular platform, we have some interests related to pets and pet grooming. And then we had our gender and ages, which is a bit different grouping for ages here on TikTok than on Meta. But yeah, this is the gist of it. So we'll take some time to look at Snapchat next. Perfect. So we will move right over to Snapchat, and I'll turn that over to Victoria.
Thank you, Toya. So on Snapchat, there are 7 targeting options. I know Meta, TikTok, a lot of them kind of overlap, like location, age, gender, language, and demographic and custom audience data. But what's really unique about Snapchat is their predefined audiences. It's a mix of Snapchat data and third-party data like, Nielsen or Datalogix. Third-party data, within the other platforms, you have to buy for that data, but great thing about Snapchat, it's already included. So in the recording, which we'll go through next, I've spent a lot of time on the predefined audiences just because they're so unique, and it's great to have all that information there within the tool free of charge. Now we'll go in and dive into the Snapchat platform. So here we are in the native ads platform for Snapchat, so Snapchat Ads Manager, and we'll start creating our audience, looking at the options we have within the native platform. So we already created our campaign. Now we're at the ad set level. We're able to add like age, gender, demographic, like education, household income, or like behaviors, interests, or for the case of Snapchat, like visitors, shoppers, viewers, and the such. So we are going to scroll down all the way to locations. So since this campaign is looking to focus on 3 areas where they'll be opening a location, we're going to use DMA targeting just to focus on those areas. So that includes Denver, Atlanta, and then lastly, Phoenix. As you can see here, the estimated target audience size has been slowly adjusting as we've been adding DMAs, and that will continue to change as we build our target audiences. So for the purpose of this recording, I'm just going to show you what the options are. But you can always have like a broad audience, with like just females or visitors of like pet stores, or you can create different segments of audiences if you want to go about, moving funds from one target to another. We do see some cost efficiency there, as you're able to kind of just really take advantage of those top performing targets. So for demographics, here is we'll select the age, so 27 through 42, focusing on females. We also have advanced demographics. So I know it's, females with a certain household income is $100,000 or less. So here we have a couple of options, different sources like, Snapchat, Dealogics, and Experian, and we can select those as well. But for my target audience here, I'm just going to not include that. I'll just focus on the predefined audiences that Snapchat has to offer. So we have lifestyle, shoppers, viewers, and visitors. And what you can do, you can select on, click on each of these and scroll down to search for the ones that make sense. So in this case, there is one on, pet animal lovers. So click on that, see that estimated audience size has changed. What we can also do is start searching for certain kind of words like pet. And it pulls up all the options available. So like cat food, dog food, store buyers of, PetSmart or Petco. You can also look for, say, specific animals like, a cat or a dog, or a dog, like cat owner. Also, cat litter, cat food, think of dog as well. But we can also look for those brands that were mentioned in the audience slides. So like Netflix, or we can do Amazon. They have a lot of options. So I recommend just kind of, if you have an idea of what your audience is interested in, I suggest doing a search just to see if they're available. Let's do recent buyers of Amazon. So now that I've selected my DMAs, my age, gender, predefined audiences, you see here is an estimated audience size for that location. I can always add some more audiences to really grow that estimated audience size, or I can remove certain things. But that is it for how to create target audience within the Snapchat native platform. And so with that, so we have concluded a recording of how to create targets for your social media campaign. We thank you for joining and hope this information is super helpful when you are going into the native platforms and building those targets.